Breaking news, a rare win for California Republicans and common sense. As today in the state legislature, we stopped the Democrats dead in their tracks as they were trying to cram through a $50 million Trump-proofing bill. Coming up, we'll tell you what went down and why the fight continues. I'm Carl DeMaio, chairman of Reform California and a California state legislator representing District 75 in the California State Assembly. Well, this morning I sent out a press release basically saying that we were going to offer a hostile amendment to the Democrats' Trump-proofing bill that they were bringing to the state assembly floor. Now, in case you've been living under a rock, Governor Gavin Newsom and California Democrats have been trying to use your taxpayer money to hire a bunch of attorneys to sue President Trump, to stop his agenda, as well as give taxpayer monies to illegal immigrant criminals to help them fight deportation. And they wrapped all this into their Trump-proofing bill that they were bringing before the assembly, and everything was on track for them to basically cram this legislation through. But California Republicans, to their credit, the Assembly Republican caucus stood their ground and fought back. They backed my amendment, and we offered a second amendment. Both of these amendments basically would prohibit any of the money in that Trump-proofing bill, the $50 million Trump-proofing bill, from being spent on legal defense of politicians who may be indicted or charged or face civil suit for impeding the federal government enforcement of immigration laws. You know, it is against the law to try to impede federal law enforcement. It's called obstruction of justice, aiding and abetting criminals. More on that in just a moment, because I want to share with you a legal memo from America First Legal Foundation. But the second thing that they were trying to do was give your money to illegal immigrant criminals. And that would help criminals stay in our communities versus getting them deported. So we came into the assembly chambers, and they knew that we were going to be offering these amendments to their bill. And Democrats suddenly adjourned or recessed to go and strategize. They were so startled and rankled by the fact that we offered these amendments, these hostile amendments, that were really totally nailing them in the court of public opinion as to what they were doing. They were protecting politicians and protecting criminals, that they quickly recessed to strategize. Here's a picture of the empty desks. Look at all those Democrat chairs completely empty. You can see us Republicans all the way over in the corner, waiting while Democrats were trying to figure out how they would respond to our counterattack. Love it. And it says, Eitan Wallace from Fox 5 San Diego says, Democrats have left the state assembly to meet in private for a brief recess. My response was, breaking. Democrats are so rattled by my amendment to bar funding for illegal immigrant criminals and politicians to protect them that they called an emergency meeting to plot a response. This is what happens when the GOP fights in California on winning issues. Well, guess what? The Democrats met for almost an hour. Then they quietly filed back into the chamber. And I got ready to stand and offer the amendment, but instead they adjourned the meeting entirely. Breaking. We did it for now. California Democrats were so rattled by my amendment to bar funding for illegal immigrant criminals and politicians who protect them that they canceled their vote on their reckless $50 million Trump-proof bill today. Again, this is what happens when Republicans fight on principle in California. Now, we're not out of the woods yet. I will tell you that we have a lot of fight left on this one, because the rumor is that they're going to try to tweak their Trump-proof bill to at least eliminate the funding for illegal immigrants. I don't know what they're going to do about the politicians getting legal defense, and then bring it back potentially next week. That's one way they could handle it, or we could keep the pressure on and continue to embarrass them that they back down. This is what happens when we fight. but we need your help to fight in California. So go online to our website at reformcalifornia.org. Reformcalifornia.org. It is our grassroots movement. The statewide Reform California movement is what's causing Republicans to be more aggressive when they're elected into office. We're telling them, fight, fight, fight. Have President Trump's back, not like what you did in the first term. And that's making a difference. We can't carry out this important work. We can't educate voters like you through these podcasts, through a variety of other public education programs and voter education programs we engage in. We can't offer ballot measures to reform the system or recruit, train, mentor, and support candidates to flip seats and end the Democrat supermajority. We can't do any of this work without your continued support. So do two things. Number one, sign up on the website at the bottom. First name, last name, email, phone, and zip code. That way you are staying informed as to what's going on in the state of California in the fight to take back our state from far left-wing insanity. Plus, contribute. We need your support. $5 is all it takes to contribute to our Reform California movement. Democrats have so much more advantage with us, with the liberal media carrying their water, as well as money from the lobbyists and special interests. We rely on grassroots contributors like you to carry us through this fight. I'm going to brief you real quick on what the bill would actually do. And I want to talk to you a little bit about how Democrat politicians in California could end up getting indicted and charged with both criminal or civil suits. But I also have, again, a more important task for you, not just to educate yourself, but to get involved in the fight. So let me really quickly give you a few minutes primer on what's in the Trump-proof bill so you can explain it to your friends, and what our hostile amendments will do next week if they bring the bill back. On the floor today, Democrats brought up two bills. One bill was for $25 million, and it would hire lawyers to allow the Attorney General, Rob Bonta, to sue the Trump administration on every single policy. We're not just talking about illegal immigration. We're talking about sue them to allow politicians to ban your gas stove. Yeah, natural gas appliances would be banned by California. Trump is trying to stop that because, I don't know, he actually thinks that you should be able to choose the appliance that's in your home. And he knows that it's not good for the environment to ban these devices. We don't have the energy to replace the gas. But you know that $25 million fund is not just about illegal immigration. It's about all the crazy policies that California politicians have and that Trump is trying to stop by holding these politicians accountable. So $25 million will be for lawsuits against Trump, but also there is a line in that bill that allows for legal funds to be provided in the defense of state officials. In other words, you guessed it, the politicians. And why is this so important? This is important because we had America First Legal send a letter in late December across the state of California to local elected officials. So this is the one that was sent to San Diego County, the county I represent in the 75th District in the state assembly. And it basically says, look, federal law is clear. Illegal immigrants unlawfully present in the United States are subject to removal from the country, and it is a crime to conceal, harbor, or shield them. It goes on to say that elected officials and sworn law enforcement officials, unfortunately, who follow the state's sanctuary state policy and try to impede federal law enforcement could be charged with aiding and abetting, and that state and local officials under federal law are compelled to cooperate with federal law enforcement agents, either that or they're obstructing justice. More importantly, there's another provision that's laid out in the letter, and this is more, I think, a direct attack on the elected officials, and that is the RICO statutes. RICO statutes can be used to trigger liability against a politician or a government official whose negligence causes harm to someone else. It says here, and this is on page 5 of the letter, And by the way, I have a full copy of the America First legal letter. You should really read it. It really lays out why California is completely wrong with the sanctuary state law, why these local officials are literally breaking the law to shield criminals, and the risk it brings legally to taxpayers. Because, what these politicians are going to do is they're going to say, if I'm sued either civilly or criminally by the federal government, civilly by outside groups, the taxpayers will have to pay for my lawyers. No, you're on your own. You break the law, you pay for your lawyer. And you know what? If we take away the legal shield, the indemnification, if you will, of these state and local politicians from legal action against them and force them to run the risk of having to hire their own lawyers, it really causes them to rethink what they're about to do, because they know they're not right on the law. They know that this is all politics, and that, hey, if I get, prosecuted, or if someone brings legal action against me, at least I've got a taxpayer funded lawyer, and I'll drag it out until Trump's out of office. And then some wingnut Democrat comes in and drops the charges against me. That's what they're thinking. We need to put a little bit more risk on the table to them. And that is why we cut off the legal funds. But RICO statutes basically allow any person injured in his business or property by reason of a violation of law shall recover threefold the damages he sustains and the cost of the suit. So basically, if someone, an illegal immigrant, kills your daughter, or if an illegal immigrant steals from your company or steals from your home, you could say, these are the damages I incurred, and I want to hold whoever allowed that person here to remain in our state, whoever facilitated their release back on the street when they could have deported them. I want to go after them for negligence, because their release was reckless and I've suffered the damage. Well, that does it for us on this episode of Reform California with Carl DeMaio. Please, again, go to that website, reformcalifornia.org, sign up to stay informed on the movement, and chip in a contribution. You put gas in the tank for the fight to take back our state from far left insanity. Until next time, Carl DeMaio, Chairman of Reform California and a California State Representative. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. But before you click away, please subscribe to this channel and click that notification button so you get updated when we post new episodes. Plus, like this video and share it with your friends so that we can help spread our message across the state. Reform California with Carl DeMaio is paid for by Carl DeMaio for State Assembly.